what affects the various, I guess we'll say, consistencies of hydrocarbon-based extracts? Because it's well known that there's a wide variety of sort of types of hydrocarbon extracts.
Yeah.
And so can you speak a little bit to some of the dynamics that influence those final products?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the reasons that hydrocarbon products have that, wide range in texture and consistency is because they have the potential to extract the acid form.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of cannabinoids, the acid form and the decarboxylated form of that cannabinoid have different physical states. So for example, THCA is, a solid colorless crystalline product at room temperature, whereas, Delta 9 THC is, a colorless liquid at room temperature. And so that's a big difference in consistency. So if my concentrate is mostly THC Delta 9, I'm going to get sticky liquid because Delta 9 is a sticky liquid. But if I've got mostly THCA, I am going to have a primarily dry solid. And so, that first differentiation in ratio of, THC versus THCA or, CBD versus, THC makes a big difference in, just the potential consistency that I've got in front of me, especially because I don't want to say decarboxylation can't be reversed, but generally we're not going back from that. So once we have crossed into that decarboxylated state, once I've got CBD, I've got a solid. Once I've got Delta 9, I've got a liquid. And so the hydrocarbon extraction process allows us to play with that texture a little bit more because we can start with a dry product and go liquid or not.
Yeah.
So that already makes a big difference. It's just the dominant compound in any given solution is going to dictate, the structure that it takes on. Then from there, we have, the other minor groups that are involved. Now, hydrocarbon extraction is also excellent for terpene extraction because it happens at low temperature, so we don't destroy them, and they're soluble, in butane and propane, so we're able to capture a lot of them. We also have the added benefit through hydrocarbon extraction of being able to extract wet or fresh frozen material because it doesn't take on water content in the same way that 5,000 psi worth of CO2 or any given amount of ethanol will. So we have, the potential to not only extract more terpenes because they're compatible solvents, but also because we can capture terpenes from the plant material before it has dried out, before those have changed, before those have evaporated. And so that terpene content is mostly liquid. Some terpenes are solid at room temperature, but mostly we're dealing with liquids. And so the amount of terpene content in any given hydrocarbon extracted product has a huge impact on that liquid versus solid situation because those terpenes can dissolve that solid cannabinoid.
Yeah.
And so why we might have 90%, solid THCA cannabinoid content, we might still have something that looks half liquidy because those terpenes can actually dissolve quite a bit of it and keep it in solution. So, that recipe gives us a lot of options. And that's just based on what it contains, regardless of what I might do to it. If I just pour it out of my extractor and here it is. Then from there, because we have that acid form, because we have some of these solids, we have the potential for crystallization. Or, in the opposite route, we have the potential for, an emulsified or homogenized product. And so, shatter, wax, butter, those kinds of things are generally homogeneous products. Shatter is everything mixed up and, solid and flat, whereas the butter and the wax is everything whipped up and actually aerated. But in either case, basically the same original content, which is way more THCA than that liquid terpene content, which allows it to be, dry rather than wet. And then from there, it's just, how we play with it. It's at that point, it's kind of how do you take your eggs? You like them scrambled, you want them sunny side up. So for me, I try to pay attention to that chemical content first, because it's a good indicator. If I really care about flavor, I probably don't want dry textured products because inherently I'm going to have less.
Yeah.